The Nikki Glaser Podcast. The Nikki Glaser Podcast.
Here's Nikki. Hello, here I am. Welcome to the show. It's the Nikki Glaser Podcast. It is Thursday. It is Wednesday where we are, but yeah, it's a happy Halloween to everyone.
Happy Halloween, everybody.
Halloween. Do you guys have Halloween plans? Yeah, totally.
I'm dressed up like Nikki. Nikki's dressed up like me, and Anya's dressed up like Noah.
Are you guys doing anything for Halloween?
Absolutely not.
Hiding. But you have a house though, so kids might be coming through.
They might, but we don't want to see children, so we just are going to go in the basement, I think.
Ooh,
and turn off the porch light.
You're gonna pretend you're dead, like in the
I kind of want to give them stuff, but Matt is a little bit of a curmudgeon, or just like he doesn't want to deal with it.
Well, whatever you do, don't leave out a bucket of candy.
Yeah, and say take it at
take one,
like
please.
Take one. Yeah, no way.
Wow,
but
who
it's
are
a
those
commitment
people?
to like 2 hours of your night, right?
Yeah, answering the door, but it's like I think it's cute. I've never lived in a house and gotten to do it. But
I think the dog
probably
gets freaked out. And Matt's just like, let's stop
that'll
this.
be too stressed out for the dog. Yeah, the dog is going to go nuts. Just turn off that porch light and act like you're dead. For sure.
Do you
I'm
think
gonna go out
take
with the
one,
kids.
please, people? Really? Is it like a husband whose wife was like, you got to put out some candy if we're going to go on this trip, and then he goes, fine? Or is it like some innocent, naive woman or man who's like, they're going to just take one?
I will say that most people do take one or two. I don't think anyone takes all of it. I mean, I'm sure. Yes, I do believe that
they
happens.
take all of it. They take.
Really?
I mean, I guess if you're with early on at like the 3 o'clock hour, the 4 o'clock hour, the little kids will just like take one with their parents. But as soon as the middle schoolers come out, that whole bowl is gone instantly.
I gotta say, when I was handing out candy at my sister's house a couple years ago, I was horrified by how kids don't say thank you. And I'm not one of those people that's like, say thank you. I don't really care about that stuff generally when I'm dealing with kids. But just these kids snatching it and then walking away, and their parents are standing right there, like, say thank you. Like, what happened to that? Like, that was just drilled into me as a kid. You say please and thank you. And it's like, these kids and their parents just come on. It's like, you just watch your kid be so rude and just grab candy. I was like, I couldn't believe. I was like, this next generation is fucked. There's like no like courtesy. And,
they're all on the internet.
There's this
Say
guy.
thank you on the internet.
Yeah, you don't say thank you. You say fuck you on the internet. You're so right.
There's this guy in our town that used to walk his dog without a leash, which drove Matt crazy. And every time he would go for a walk, inevitably he would come home and be like, I fucking saw that guy again. And we like almost had a fight. And finally I'm like, just avoid this guy. Forget this guy. And then the guy eventually, I'm sure enough people in town talked to him about like, you've got to have your huge dog on a leash. And cause he'd be like, in England, they don't have dogs on leashes. And everybody would be like, well, you're in New York. So on Halloween a couple of years ago, I was like, Matt, let's just be cool and open our house up to kids and give them candy. So we did. And this little girl came up and she was the daughter of the guy. And there he was with his dog reluctantly on a leash and his little kid. And then the little kid is like 4 and she goes, because our dog starts barking and she goes, why is your dog not trained? And I could just see Matt in the living room like, fuck this. And I was like, because she's crazy. And Matt's like, no, she's not. No,
she's hot. She's got a great body and she's perfect the way she is.
You should have turned to the parents and said, why is your daughter not trained?
No kidding.
I know. Where were you, Brian? I needed you.
I was probably in your basement.
Oh, God. Kids can just cut right to the core.
Yeah. Little brats. Kids shouldn't be allowed to leave their house. I don't think kids should be allowed on planes. I don't think kids should be allowed at hotels.
What age?
You need like a funeral. You need to be going to a funeral in order to allow a kid out of the house.
No, kids don't need to go to funerals. No.
Not even
kids
that.
Kids don't need to say goodbye. They don't understand death yet. Let's not bring them into
Kids
that.
should go from home to school to after school activities and back home.
Right.
I really am irritated with kids in first class, though. I think that is
Get out of it. I mean, that is disgusting.
It happens all
I'm rich.
the time.
I need my child.
Where each 3-year-old has their
But they
own
don't
seat in first
know.
class. And because they have those, I don't get bumped up because it's all about availability.
my
That means they
God.
bought, it means either the kids have the status, which there's no way they do. but
it's
then
the
that means
parents
they
buying
spent
them.
$9,000 on that fucking flight. Because a first class ticket is just so insanely overpriced.
They're tiny.
that-
They don't need even more space. They need even less space.
But then
So
that
are
means
you
the mom has to
advocating-
be in the coach with them.
Oh, okay. So I was wondering if you're advocating for the parents to be in first class and kids to be someone else's problem and coach.
I also don't
Overhead.
think kids should be traveling.
Why are they
when
flying?
they're,
Where are they going?
I think like 5, sure, but no, I think mine is babies. I just think a toddler to babies. So I guess 3 and below, I don't think should have
don't think
any
you should
reason
be
to
able to-
travel literally
you
ever
shouldn't
unless
leave your
they're like
house.
getting a surgery that can only be done in a certain state or something.
Well,
Like a
that's,
life-saving-
they have to get a surgery. Yeah.
Yeah, if they have like an operation, but I don't think, I mean, I just don't think, and I know it's like, but grandma needs to see them. I've said this before. No, she doesn't. Then she needs to travel. And I also think old people, I'm tired of seeing old people being like whisked across the country and like so uncomfortable and not even knowing where they are and like having someone just drag them. I'm like, do they really want to be doing this? And I know elderly people still want to feel part of the world and want to be able to travel. Absolutely, if they want to. But I just feel like a lot of it is like, you got to go to, Ariel's wedding, and it's just like you have to like you're just you're making these old people travel for a wedding of someone that they wouldn't even recognize if they ran into them on the
just
street.
zoom into the wedding.
Zoom in. But yeah, kids don't need to be going to weddings. Kids don't need to go see grandma who lives states over. Like it's just then. I mean, maybe, but then drive. Maybe I don't know.
Think about
it's
how
tough.
many
I would probably
times-
fly with a kid if I had
When
one.
you were
I'm
a kid,
hypocrite.
think about you going on trips and stuff like that. How
Yeah.
many times are you with your parents and they're like, remember, and you're like, I've never been to the Grand Canyon, and go, yes, you were. You were there when you were 3. Because you don't remember shit until you're like,
Nate Bargatze has a great joke about that, where he's like, "What am I supposed to just throw my daughter in a closet and lock her in there until she's
Yes!
4 and starts having memories?" Yeah,
yes,
Look at how
that's what you
excited
should do.
Brian
right. Yeah. I just do think that people are selfishly bring their kids and their grandparents when it's like they want that, but they don't understand like that the kid doesn't really need that, or the grandparent they're going to see doesn't really need that either, and it's like all for them more so.
Here's another thing, and this is legit. You might even agree with this in a non-joking way. You're at a hotel. I do not think kids should be allowed in the hot tub.
Oh yeah.
They're not supposed
I
to.
don't
Why-
want to be
Medically.
in a hot tub either.
Period. Well, okay. Well,
Yeah. I don't think kids should be allowed at the gym, and they're not supposed to be.
no,
but
no,
they
you're not
always
supposed
run
to start
in there.
working out until you're.
I
How
was
many
just in
times
a
do you
gym
go to
with
a-
Nikki at a casino, and there were 4 fucking children running around the gym on the elliptical. Like they were
Oh
like
my
joking
God.
around, and their parents were just like there. And I'm like, get them out of here. This is a distraction.
It's a playground.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have loved a gym when I was a little girl. Like, I loved, like, oh my God, this thing moves and I get to run on it and I don't go anywhere. Like, gym equipment's so fascinating
it
as
was
a kid. All I
fascinating.
wanted was one of those. I asked for it for Christmas and I got one. My mom found it at a Goodwill. The things that you put
A
your
Nordic track?
like,
Elliptical?
you would go like this, back
You
and
would
forth, like
start
your
burning
arms,
calories,
and
Nick.
then your legs would move like a ski, not a Nordic track, because those would go like this is more like swooping up.
Elliptical.
Yeah, no, elliptical's more like you're running. These are non-existent now, but they were everywhere in 1999 to 2002, and they would your arms would go back and like it looked fun, and it was fun for literally 20 seconds, and then I didn't use it ever again. But we did get one, and gym equipment can be really fun for kids.
Where did you guys go on family trips?
Skiing,
Yeah.
Park City, Michigan. That was.
Were you
those are
engaged with your family?
engaged
Like-
with my family?
Were you participating?
What does that? I mean, yeah, we would do stuff like I have a really fun dad, so like there would always be activities. There would always be something to do. There would always be, we're going to go take the jet ski out. We're going to go rent a boat. We're going to go to the sand dunes. We're going to go skiing. We're going to take skiing lessons, but then we're going to go do this and we're going to go to this park. Like, there was never a dull moment in my childhood. I had the most amazing childhood because I have a dad who is like loves to play, which is, I was talking to Kaki this weekend, Chris's sister, about whether we would have kids. And I said, I think Chris would be a great dad. He only has a certain amount of energy, and he would probably put it all into the kids, and then I would resent that because I want him to put it into me, and I know he'd be the kind of fun dad that I would need because I'm not going to be a fun mom. Like I would be like my mom. My mom just would be like, "That's a pretty picture," but she wouldn't like get on the floor with us and play, and that was just the kind of mom I would be. I just don't want to play, and I always said if I had kids, I wouldn't want a husband who's like can't wait to play with kids, can't wait to make up games and play tag and like is really engaged in that stuff. And Chris is, but I want that. I want him to play with me. I would be like annoyed that it was going to somewhere else. And we only have so much energy the older we get. And so I was just like, Khaki, it's just not going to happen for us. But I was definitely engaged constantly in family trips all the time.
Yeah, that makes
Were you
sense. You
not?
guys had a fun fam. I was until I was a teenager, and then I just remember like reading Flowers in the Attic and staring out the window on the trip they were driving from like through France to Spain, and like, why are you reading that book? And I couldn't tell my mom, like, because the brother and sister are boning.
Yeah. Well, in high school, I definitely, there's a picture of me staring into the Seine River on a trip to Paris. And I'm crossing my arms and I have posterior pelvic tilt going on like crazy. My torso is scooped under and I'm looking despondently into the Seine River and I look so depressed. And that was like when my depression really started in high school. And it was on that trip in France. And I was so mad we had to go because I was obsessed with my friends and I just wanted to be around my friends in Kirkwood. I did not want to go anywhere in high school that my friends weren't. And I would just like long for them and listen to Matchbox 20 songs and like dream about my friends. Like I was so gay for my girlfriends. I was literally gay. Like I'm not even saying gay as in like I was literally probably romantically in love with my girlfriends in high school because I didn't have anywhere else to put that kind of energy because I didn't have boyfriend or
it's
intimacy.
Actually very common for teenage girls to be with their gaggle of girlfriends. Like you always find teenage girls in the bathroom with all their friends just talking and gossiping. That's a very normal hormonal thing that happens to teenage girls. Loved
my friends so much. And I just remember fantasizing about like listening to Matchbox 20 and literally like daydreaming about hanging out with them while I was in France for like 4 days until I would see them again. And I was like longing for them. Like I was at war. Because I had to go on a fucking trip with my family and go tour cathedrals, which, by the way, I'm still bored by. That is still a part of my core belief is that I'm not interested in seeing things just because you're supposed to see them or because they're really old or because that's what you do when you go there. I still don't believe in that, but yeah. I do realize I was so lucky to have a dad that was like so playful and like I was. You know, when you're a kid, someone had a great bit about it. I was so jealous of this bit, but like when you're a kid, all you want to do is you're like, I have to go in to eat. I don't want to. We want to keep playing, or I have to go to sleep. No. And like now that's all I want to do. I don't want to do anything except those two things. And they used to be the fucking bane of my existence. And that's
Joe Zimmerman.
Was that Joe? Yeah, I think I quoted it before, but it still stays with me as like, that is the truest thing I've ever heard in my life. And how ironic.
All we want to do is eat and sleep now. It's true. I think about that in the middle of a set. Like, when is my dinner? I can't wait to eat
that's all I think about.
Tom-kha soup.
Tom-kha's good.
I just want to... But it's not good if it's not hot. Are you eating Tom-kha soup not hot, Anya? Because when we get our food, there's no way it's still hot.
That's true. Well, if some places they'll like make it like bionically hot, and then it's like,
and then you're eating the plastic that it was in.
Oh God, I am
because it's like if it's too hot, that's burning the plastic, and you're.
I pour the soup out and just eat the plastic.
I got a bad batch of summer rolls last weekend. I'm still mad about it.
Most summer rolls are disgusting. They're mostly horrific and poorly made, and all they have in it is lettuce and like one other thing and like a bean sprout, and they're just like an abomination. Or they were just made because summer rolls are so trendy that they always run out, so they have to make new ones. So when you get them, they're hot and they're supposed to be cold.
I hate when they're warm.
I love when they're warm.
Hate when they're warm.
What about
it's
sushi?
Disgusting. It's like biting into a lump dick. No, a limp dick.
A lump dick.
A
A
lump
lumpy
dick's
limp
better.
dick. But sushi. It's my obsession right now. Everyone knows it. I can't go a day without eating it. I hate warm sushi, and that's why I don't like to go to sushi restaurants because it always comes out. The rice is like like
Because
soft.
it's
I
from
love
some's
that.
hand, so that they have
just-
their
Ew.
warm.
No, it's not
No,
because it
come
was
on,
in
no,
someone's
we don't
hand.
need to know
they
that.
make the rice. No, the way to have sushi, like really grade A 5-star sushi, is like it's room temp warm.
I want my
Not
sushi
the
rice
fish,
al
though.
dente. I know that's insane, but I want it a little bit like with a bite to it. I want a little crunchiness to the rice. But I just found out if you make rice and then freeze it or put it in a refrigerator, it like cuts down the calories by like a third.
No.
Yes. It like your body processes it much faster and metabolizes it faster. I'm not interested in that, but it does. I knew there was something to it that I did
puts their
like.
rice
It
in the
just,
fridge.
it's just so much better when sushi's cold. So that's why I like grocery store sushi the best of any sushi I've ever had, because it's cold. And any restaurant you go to, it's just comes out, it's a little bit warm.
I
And
like the warm hands of a sushi chef.
not into it. But
I would like to put restaurants on notice for a minute here in regards to salads. I feel like if you're not getting, there's salad places like Sweet Green or whatever where you make your own salad, and those are doing all right. But when you go to a restaurant and you order a salad, I feel like over the last few years, salads have become like almost nothing. Like they don't put ingredients in their salad.
no, that's just lettuce.
Yeah, I like. When did that happen? Where you spend $15 on a salad and it's like there's a Mexican restaurant that's supposed to be like a fancy healthy restaurant that 5 years ago you'd get like a Caesar salad from them and it would be like romaine lettuce and croutons and like anchovies and stuff, and now you get it and it's just iceberg lettuce chopped up.
With
And
the Caesar dressing?
I feel like this is a scourge across the nation where restaurants have realized that we're not going to complain about the salad.
Well, most people don't like salad, so when people order it, they feel really like self-important. Like, okay, good. Like, I'm doing the healthy thing, not self-important, but they're proud of themselves that like I'm doing the right thing. I got this burger, but I'm going to get a side salad. So restaurants probably realizing like most people aren't really eating the salad because what they want is the unhealthy thing, and they just kind of get it. And so
Yeah.
we can really cut down on our food costs if we just make the salad smaller, because that's what they want. They don't really want this thing anyway. They're just ordering it to seem healthy with the person they're eating with.
Right,
Yeah,
but we're
well-
here to say we're done with this, restaurants.
That's
We
what I'm
need
saying.
something
love
substantial.
salad. Well, that's why anytime, I'm not even joking you, this has been going on for so long, and I'm such a person that loves salad that if I order, Anya knows, every weekend when we order, if I get a house salad from somewhere, how many house salads do I get?
Minimum 2.
2 to 3 every single time, because I know it is going to be a dinky ass salad, even if it's an $8 salad. And I'm talking $8 in like Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, like $8. Like
Oh shit!
that's like a
Slam.
$20 salad in LA. I just wanted you to know,
Cost
like
of
the size
living
of a
is so low
dinner,
there.
not a side salad. If it's a side salad, I'll get like 4. But if it's like a house salad,
Yep.
I'll get at least 2, and then
my
plus
God.
an
Because
entree.
they're trying to
plus
fuck
something.
you every time.
There's one place that they're not advertising, so I don't need to say their name. They're a vegetarian sushi place. They make the best salad I've ever had in my life. It's a kale Caesar salad. It's all vegan. It tastes like mushrooms.
Where?
Okay, the place we just went in Florida. Do you remember that place? It's vegan sushi.
Planta.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's the best salad I think I've ever had.
I had that too. That is really good with the capers.
And
Obsessed.
Yes, and it tastes
I had
like
that
bacon,
2
but it's
nights
not
in a row.
bacon. It's
because I had it
mushrooms.
for Andrew's wedding. There was one in Miami, and then there was also one in Fort Lauderdale. Is that where we were? Where we got it?
Yes.
Again, yeah. So I had it 2 weekends in a row, and I had it in Marina Del Rey when we did the NFL thing last week. I got Planta, and they have really good sushi, but the best vegan sushi that I've had was some grocery store in I think it was the Fort Lauderdale grocery store sushi, or maybe no, it was Hershey, Pennsylvania. Wherever they got that sushi from, it was the best vegan sushi I've ever had, and it was some like just a Kroger or something. But we did we gotta go to break. We're gonna talk about this past week when we get back, because a lot happened and it involved everyone. We'll be back after this. So last week, I don't know if everyone saw, but I did the Thursday Night Football on Amazon Prime, as I have been wont to do once before. But then we did it on Thursday night. It was such a fun day.
Victory.
I really love doing that thing.
What do you love about it?
I love writing with a room of really funny writers and like just it's not just all intense like oh no, like it is intense because there's decisions that need to be made. It feels like there's like the atmosphere of like an emergency room kind of thing. Like we need that, like a newsroom. Like it's very like we got to get this to print. It's like there's that like kind of anxiety, but there's also like so many jokes being cracked that like aren't gonna make it on TV. Like we are just constantly goofing around, being so funny, riffing on things. Like I just like hanging out with a group of people that I've hand selected that are the funniest people I know that are all in like a really good mood because we're doing this really cool thing. We're at a NFL or we're at an NFL stadium. We're a part of this like huge NFL production. It feels important. It feels cool. Everyone just feels excited to be there. And it's just so fun. It's me. It was a huge writer's room this weekend. Like the first time we did it,
LA.
we were in
New York.
We were in New York, and so
New
it was
Jersey.
only 4 of us.
Three
of us.
Are you including yourself?
Yeah, me, you, Ian, Sean, and Chris. And then this time it was me, you, Ian, Sean, Chris, Nicole, Bill, Bob,
Michael,
and maybe someone else that I'm like I can't. It was huge. It was, and
what's
Emily
your schedule
was also
like?
there. I get hair and makeup done at 10:30, or no, 11:30. Leave at 1:45. 2. Get to the venue at 3, and then from 3 to 5:15 when the game starts, we are just writing and like talking about the script and sitting around and like it's a little bit like less crazy. The night before we also get together, right?
Like, are you watching the game on a TV or on the field?
We're back in a room in the stadium.
You get buried in a dungeon, which is pretty close to usually the players' locker rooms.
Yeah, we're real close.
Yeah, but you're in there in a windowless closet room with a TV screen.
And then it's just you when you're on the air. How long is that?
When I do the thing, I do like 4 minutes, 3 to 4 minutes.
Aim for 4, yeah.
Yeah,
that's chock full of jokes then?
Have you not seen it? It's just me doing like kind of like a roast of the game.
You know what it reminded me of?
What?
Actually, it reminds me of Talk Soup. Do you remember that show?
Yeah, that's a really good reference actually.
We were trying to comp that, in fact.
Yeah, I mean honestly that's kind of it's it's done in a way that's like I hope that I wanted to make something that a girl like me who doesn't know anything about sports would like, her boyfriend would have this on the background and it would be the first thing that she looks up and goes like, oh, I can kind of understand some of this. Like some of it is technical and I don't even know what I'm saying because it's like, it's stats or whatever. And we're making jokes about stats, but then some of it is just like observations that anyone could make having no knowledge of the game. And it's just funny and fun. And it's like anyone can understand it. And that's really what I wanted it to be. And it's what it's turned out to be. And I've learned a lot about football through it, which is also a thing I wanted it to be. It was like,
Yeah, it's like, honestly, I don't watch the game. I know nothing about football, even though we talk about it on this show. It's like nothing is absorbing. But when I watch you, it's just so fun to just watch you roast everything. And on the last show, we were talking about nuances and like in the creative process and stuff. Like one of my favorite things in your delivery is when your voice, like you're kind of holding back a laugh and you're talking through the laugh and your voice changes a little bit. It's the best.
Thank you. I think I know what joke you're talking about when I did that on this time of like. Where I'm just like excited to say something like, do you ever and then it sounds like I'm presenting it like conversationally, honestly.
Right, and your pitch just gets a little bit higher.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's my favorite. It's like almost
watch
like
me do that the whole time next time, and then it's not special anymore. But but then I have a depression right after it because it's just like. Nothing will ever be the way the Tom Brady roast was in terms of like the amount of like, holy shit, that was insane that you just like, I will never get that response about anything I do the rest of my life. I'm almost certain of it. And I shouldn't. Like that was just
there'll be a lot. There's not as many, even though it's a football game, there's not as many eyes on the Thursday Night Football post game as there were on the roast, obviously. So you're just automatically not going to get any amount of feedback at all that would, good or bad, that would be comparable to the roast.
Right. I mean, like, even in the immediacy after it just is like, it's not like, no one's like, whoa, the stakes are so high. Like, it just isn't
they're
like
not
this.
High.
They're not.
If it goes terribly, no one's going to care.
No one notices. It goes away. It's just such a thing that only exists in that moment, kind of thing, which is really freeing and fun. But it's over so fast.
This week I did feel pretty similar to the roast after.
No,
the
I know
set.
you did. I was like kind of bummed after it because I fucked up the delivery on, I would say, 30% of the jokes. Like I just really didn't like how I said the joke. Like my timing was not right, and I just didn't emphasize the right word, and I just like I it was just a joke that we had just written, so it's like I can't be expected to do it perfectly. But I was just like, man, I let down whoever wrote that joke. I let down. Like, I know if I was a writer and I wrote that joke, I'd be like, fuck, she fucked it. Like, that was such a good joke and she fumbled it. Like, I felt like disappointed in myself for a couple things. So I was kind of like, even though it was overall a very successful showing, I was focusing on the things I could have done better, and I couldn't stop thinking about them. And I was kind of just like, I just want to go home. I just want to be alone, and I don't want to run into any more people that like might not say exactly what I want to hear, which is, that was amazing, which no one was saying because they have other fish to fry. Like, there's the show isn't about me. It's like I'm like just a thing tacked on at the end, as it should be. So it's just like, I just want to be claw machined out of there. I don't like, you have to take a shuttle home with all the writers and a lot of the producers on the show.
Sometimes
like,
Richard Sherman.
And sometimes, one of the hosts. It's just like, I just don't want to be around anyone after it. Like, if it's not an AA plus, I just want to disappear and be alone. And you can't really do that after that. But then it was good to be around you, Brian, because you are I'm usually pretty
very
harsh on yourself and hard on and want everything to be perfect. And you were just in like such a good mood that
I was very happy. I was floating. I was
glad to be around it.
Every step I felt like I was bounced on with moon
you
shoes.
You were in such a good mood. Everyone was like, "What's going on with Brian?" We're like, "I think this is happy. It's giving happy Brian."
Well, I was, I've been down lately, and I also had kind of lower expectations this time around. So because, last time obviously we had the screaming drunken hordes, this time it went as well as we could have hoped in terms of production.
Yeah.
And because we know the script was good, we know that you're going to be good. It was really up to like, are the uncontrollable aspects of this going to meet our expectations? And I felt like it did.
Yeah.
And so everything just came together in my mind, and it was great. I think that's why I was like, looking at this, you're like, this should be on every week. This should be every single game.
Oh, it's so, I would do it every week. It's so fun. And I just love working really hard for a short amount of time. I hate a long build up to something. Everyone's like, the Golden Globes, isn't this great that you have all this time? And I was like, no. Honestly, I would love to be told 2 weeks before them doing the Golden Globes. I would be fine with that. I literally would. And I'm not trying to be like, I'm not throwing anyone to the bus that had maybe complained about not having enough time. For me, that's just how I work best. Like,
I don't even know who you're talking about.
Same.
I'm just saying that is I don't like a lot of time at all. I love that we are like, we don't have time to write a new joke. It's going to be this one or this one, Nikki. And I'm like, that one. Like, I like that.
Pressure.
It's the pressure is, that's the only way I get anything in my life done is last minute. It's just the way that I'm built, and I really wish I wasn't. Do you guys feel that way? I mean, I feel like a lot of people do relate to what I'm saying, but I think some people do like a lot of time and like to like consider it and take like, you're a slower person, Anya. You like to like move at a slower clip. Like, do you do well under those circumstances?
I need a deadline for something to get done too.
Yeah.
And I like the pressure of it. And I really love working with a group. If I couldn't write for a couple of years when I was writing alone, and then I rejoined my songwriting group which is just like 10 of us over email where we get a prompt every week. And then I just started like cranking out songs because I'd be like, I don't want to disappoint them.
Yeah.
And you get called out if you don't turn in a song and then you get kicked out. So I did not want my pride to get bruised. So that's a great
How many of your
incentive for
songs
me.
on your album like are from that songwriting group?
I think all 10 are from the
Oh, really?
writers
my
group.
God.
70?
Wow.
Did you really write 70
Yeah,
songs?
I wrote like 70 songs probably.
Did you give them like a special thanks?
I definitely did to the leader of the group, Bob Schneider, who's an amazing songwriter in Austin, Texas. I mean, he came up with girl shit. He came up with I came up with
You're
Gimme
Good.
Sugar, You Are Good, You Are, the letters, You Are Good. I think I came up with Beautiful and Stoned. Yeah, but they're all from the group, I believe.
That's insane. That without the group, you wouldn't have written all those songs.
Yeah.
That was and that is the truth for everything in my life. Like I would not create anything if there wasn't people expecting things from me. I don't even know how I got started in comedy. I think back to like the early days when no one expected anything of me. What was the reason for me to do anything? Like I signed up for a comedy thing and then I guess there was a deadline and I told my friends about it. So I guess there was some expectation, but without that built in, I would fucking get nothing done. Most of my jokes are written as I'm backstage, about to walk onto stage. That is when all of my creativity starts like kind of coming out of me and I come up with stuff so like on the drive to the venue.
Sure.
Why can't this
I'm
be a
not
more
alone in
consistent process?
I think like your brain just starts clicking on when you have to go on stage and you do wind up writing more jokes. But for me, it's the exact opposite. When it comes to like writing a script or something like that, I do that the best when no one is expecting it from me because I like to be like, surprise, I got this script. You weren't even expecting
interesting.
this. Boom, here it is.
Oh, whoa. Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
I get
I like
that.
to go. I like to be locked away in a closet for a month, and then I come out with a script, and then no one was like, "What? What were you doing in there?" And it's like, "I have a script now." And they're like, "Who are
Right.
you? You're not repped here."
Is that like family stuff? That seems like how somebody would have to get attention in their family. Like, or like, where's Brian? Has anyone seen Brian?
Like I have
He's
to
in his
hide
closet.
away. Yeah.
Well, I think it's similar to like I can't do I don't like yoga. It's too slow. It's not doing anything for
You
me.
need a flow.
It's like I want
Yeah.
something to feel like I'm gonna die.
You're
and then
such a
I want the countdown clock. Like I've walked out of classes because the clock wasn't working. The one day I showed up at plank class and the clock, they're like, it's not working, you guys. And I go, well, I'm not going to be here because I need to know.
Well, I'm not working out because
Yeah, it's not like I am looking at that clock constantly being like, okay, I can do this. 25 more minutes. That's nothing. That's like meditating plus 5 minutes. Like, or when I used to meditate, it was 20 minutes. And I always like think about that. Like I need to know when something is going to be over. I need to know when the pain is going to be over. But until then I can be in an excruciating amount of pain. And for me, writing is excruciatingly painful. I honestly don't think that there is anything I would want to do less than write. And that sounds so crazy, but I would rather get a root canal by far.
root canals are easy.
Truly, I'm trying to think of like
But you just said you like being with the group. Like you like, and maybe that's how you thrive.
Or like writing in advance, maybe.
No, well, writing with a group, that's fine because then the writing alone, nothing. I can't think of anything more painful to me. I'm trying to figure out. I was talking on Girls Chat last night. I don't know how to do it anymore. Like I don't know. I'm so scared of doing it, and I'm in this book I'm reading called The Mountain Is You. It's talking about all these blocks we have, and like, you know, what is the thing you're avoiding? Like if you're scared of if you are scared of being like on a dying in a plane crash, you're scared of losing control and you seek control in your life. Like that's usually what it's about, is like you want control. It's not about you're scared to die in a plane crash. You just like you don't like feeling out of control. And so what is the fear when I write? Like why would I rather be watching an air show, which is one of my biggest fears? I would rather watch an air show than to sit down and have to think about my stand-up set and write. Like, what is that? What is the fear? And I guess the fear is not being as good as I think I might be, and then having to live in that and sit in the the chance that I'm not as talented as I think I am.
Well, also because when you write, it's always shitty at first, and you think like you think back to the last thing you wrote, and you're like, but that was amazing. Why is this thing I'm writing shitty?
Yes.
And it's because well, you have to write it and then rewrite it a million times to get to the good thing. It didn't just rarely. Sometimes I guess it just comes out perfect, but most of the time you write something on the screen or a piece of paper, and it's like, this is fucking terrible. And
that's why I hate practicing.
And that's hard to get through.
Yeah.
Because when I start practicing, I'm like, this sounds awful. I don't want to listen to this.
No.
But the third or fourth time through, it's going to sound better. So I just try to focus on, think about how amazing you're going to feel walking on stage, totally prepared. And then that'll motivate me to practice.
Oh, that's interesting to think about the future you after having put in this work. If anyone out there listening has any advice on getting through a huge block that, like, I'm not kidding you, like, I was relating this, and I feel like this is the perfect analogy for me, is like when I was anorexic, I could not eat, and I don't know why. I can't describe it. If you've ever been anorexic, you know what I mean? Or like bulimic, and people are like, just stop throwing up, just start eating. Like, it seems like the simplest thing. You did it before. Like, it doesn't make sense to people why you can't eat. I just couldn't eat. And that is literally how I feel about writing right now. I am looking at my life. I'm like, this is why I'm so busy. I just don't want to have any room where I could write. And I was talking to my therapist last week about how I really don't do well when I don't have something to do at all hours of the day. And she said, why? What is the root of this? Like, what are you scared of if you're not, smoking pot, playing guitar, masturbating, running, doing a plank class, walking your dog? Like, these are all the things I do when I don't have actual work, right? Like, I never just like sit and watch TV without food going down my face. Like, I'm always like doing something, consuming something. And I was like, it's because I feel guilty I'm not writing. So if I just keep my life busy enough, I never have to write. So if anyone has any advice on how I can start writing and get past this, I will take it. Like, I am like, literally, I don't know what to do. And this has been going on for me like my whole life. Like, I do write. Like, I don't want people to think if you come see me on stage, like, you're going to see old shit or whatever. Like, the way I write on stage. Well, I write on stage. I write on the car ride over when I'm like, oh, I just need a new joke. And then I'll be like, I'll intensely be in my phone for a second and I'll just write something in like a couple minutes. That's all it takes. Like, people go, Nikki, how'd you come up with that on stage? That was so quick. And I'm like, well, if I came up with it at a Starbucks on my laptop, it's the same quickness. It comes out either way. Like a joke.
Why are you questioning your process? Like, why fix something if it's not broken?
Because I'm not writing at the clip I want to. Like, I would like to. And when I do write, Noah, like, it's always under pressure and I don't ever leave enough time for myself. It's always like, oh man, if I had a couple more minutes, this would even be tighter. So if I started that kind of writing that I do on the way over to the venue or literally as I'm walking to stage, the joke would be so much better if I just had 5 more minutes to add to it. And I could give myself that time at a Starbucks, but I just can't, for some reason.
That's not going to help anyway.
I'm literally paralyzed. Like,
that's
I don't
not
know
going to help you. If you give yourself 5 more minutes to try to perfect the joke.
No, it totally would. I totally would. You're wrong. I'm not kidding you.
I got it.
Then do it. Prove me wrong then.
I suggest.
Okay. Oh, that's good.
Okay, hold on. Yeah. My suggestion is talk to your tour manager, Matt Pond, to give you the wrong set times so that you have an extra 5 minutes.
That doesn't work because she's so good at time management. She'll show up 20 seconds before she needs to be somewhere because she knows she's just not late. But if you tell it, you know what I mean? Like, she'll figure something else out. I think it's true. You are successful because you've gotten here. This is your process. Why question it? Do you really need to increase the clip of your writing? Is that true?
I would like to. I would like to be I look at the comedians that I want to level up to. Mm-hmm. And it's going to take a lot more effort than I have been putting in. Like, it's just going to take a different kind of effort to be like, let's say I want to do a clean special. Like, that is going to take a different part of my brain that I need to like spend time nurturing and getting to know, that I am not leaving room for that person to emerge when I am just writing on a treadmill because I have 3 more minutes of the walk and then I have to start getting ready for the show. And I do want a local reference for this Tampa show. So let me just write a Tampa joke really quick in 3 minutes because that's all I've allowed myself to have.
But is there something wrong with that?
Yeah, the joke doesn't come out as good because I don't leave myself enough time. And then I have to start getting ready and then I have to walk on stage. And I like, for instance, this show that I alluded to on last episode, that was one of the worst experiences of my life. I wrote so many jokes because I knew it was going to be bad because of like, I saw the setup for it. I saw like, I found out a lot of details about the show that I was like, oh, this has potential to go really bad. So I built in all of these jokes. I wrote a ton of jokes that were outs for these moments to like, and I was so proud of the jokes. Like, I loved them all. I was like, okay, I hope this set goes bad because this stuff is so funny to say about it. And then I get out there, and because I didn't write those jokes with enough time to memorize them and practice them and get them in order in my head, they were not there for me when I started not doing well. Like when you you can tell yourself a million times when you're driving down the highway, if I hit a patch of black ice, turn into it. I'm going to want to turn out of it, but it's better to turn into it. Or when you go out to sea and you get caught in
when you hit black ice, you're supposed to glide.
Or whatever it is, like there's some kind of rule that when you start skidding out.
Yeah.
Well, when you're driving in snow, have you guys heard of that? Like you're supposed to steer into it, which is the opposite that your body wants to do.
I always heard you're supposed to let go.
Okay, let me give another example. When you are caught in a riptide, you are supposed to swim parallel. You're not supposed to swim against it.
Right.
You're going to drown, right? So we all know that. It's been drilled in. Like I've thought about it a million times, but that all goes out the fucking window when you have a fight or flight response. Like unless those things are ingrained in you and you've practiced them with your body over and over and memorized them, you're not going to have them. You can have your notes in front of you. I have all these jokes written in front of me to get out. But when I start doing poorly, I don't go to those jokes. Do you know what I go to? I go to a joke I wrote 10 years ago that I don't even remember the ending to. That's the life vest that I throw myself over from the Carnival cruise. I just throw myself like a beach towel instead of like an inflatable thing that I blew up. Like, and now I'm just like holding onto this wet towel, sinking even further. And I don't even know how to get back to the boat at all. I've left myself nothing. And if I would have memorize those jokes, if I would have just written those jokes an hour prior as opposed to when I did, I would have had a chance to memorize them more and then they would have been there for me. So that's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I know that won't happen again, is because I'm going to now leave myself 2 hours to prepare before a show like that instead of 1.
Okay.
But
realistically, how much time would you say you need before every show to take your jokes from where they're at to the level you'd like them to be at? Realistic amount of time.
Like focused, looking over my set and like writing like an hour. But that sounds
that's a long
like
time.
Fucking hell. Yeah,
right.
like I mean, but that's what the best comedians do.
Yeah.
Right, but knowing Nikki Glaser as well as you know her, how would you even like get that hour into her life?
I would that wouldn't be hard. Like I would say, instead of singing Taylor Swift songs before a show, you don't get to do that.
What would she say to that, though?
You perform worse because you're not happy.
That's so
well,
much
then you have to show up 2 hours earlier. Then you have to show up an hour earlier so you can get your Taylor Swift songs and you can do your thing. But then you don't get to sleep.
Why
and
even
so now
show
you're going to
up?
be a little bit sleepless.
Why aren't you doing this at the hotel room? The writing.
Because I can't do that. What? I don't even know what that looks like.
That's what I would do.
In a hotel room.
Oh, where do you need to write? What works best for you?
I sit in my bed and write.
I need to be like about to go on and like,
Okay.
I guess backstage in a room by myself, but I don't want that because then my friends are in the next room. And if I'm at a hotel, I mean, we get to a hotel, I usually around 1 or 2. I want to get in a workout. I want to get in a nap. There's just no room for it.
Okay,
Yeah.
so this totally makes sense why you're having a problem. It's just not realistic for your life or your personality to do 60 minutes of focused work alone before a show. Like checking all these boxes you need checked. It has
But
to
I
be
think
before a
that's
show.
why I keep my life like this, so I don't have to do it. And that
But your life
is
would be
the
kind of
mountain
miserable.
Is you.
I think you
I
need a
guess the
certain amount of
solution
fun.
is just Nikki 10 minutes.
Yes.
It
10
doesn't
minutes.
have to be an hour. Let's make it 10 minutes and see what happens.
Do
Like,
you
start
do
with
well
10
with
minutes.
it? Also, the other thing
or
they
5,
say
yeah.
that's important for successful people is pain. Like you have to be in sufficient pain to make a change in your life, at least like you know that.
Yeah, and I'm in deep pain right now. Like
Okay.
I'm reaching I was reading The Mountain Is You, and they were like, the only way that you're going to change your life and take it to the next level of like the person you want to be, you're not comfortable with who you are, is like you have to hit a bottom, and your bottom might not be like a bottom. It might be like just this right above a bottom, like knowing that you don't want to hit a bottom might be your bottom. And I'm like at that thing where I'm like, okay, I need intervention. And I've been in this place before and I've done nothing about it. Like this is just a common thing for me to always reach this place and go, it needs to start today. Like even the book was talking about like people who are like, I need to lose weight. Like I'm going on a diet tomorrow, and they do it. And then they just find themselves at the drive-thru again and again. Like that's me. I just will not do the thing I know I need to do. And that's why I'm begging for anyone, if you know of like any other method to start doing the thing that you absolutely know that you won't do.
Oh, I have a method because this has happened to me.
Really?
And,
share it after the break. We're back. What is it? It's happened to
Okay.
you, Brian?
now that everyone's anticipating this method, while I have everyone's attention, I just want to say, if you encounter black ice, what you're supposed to do is just allow the steering wheel to take you wherever it's going.
Okay.
Do not touch the brakes. That's the worst thing you can do.
That's the thing. Okay. Yes. But that is like not intuitive, right? Like,
No, you want to stop
Right.
and like spin against it.
Do you know
want
what
to
I'm
just be
saying, though?
calm and not
Yeah.
do
you start
much.
to bomb on a set and you have all these outs that you've made for yourself to like get out of it, and then you have none of those tools when you start because your faculties are gone and you're panicking and
Yeah.
you can't think logically.
I mean, that happens. I mean, God, that has happened a lot to me lately.
Like it's like when people are saying carry mace with you. I'm like, I'm not gonna know to like get my mace out when I'm being violently attacked. Like I'm not gonna think to do that. That's why I gotta get that fucking flashlight, Noah. Okay, so what's the method, Brian?
'Cause,
I'm interested.
our good friend Bill Dixon is helping me with this right now, unrelated to writing. And this also helped Anya. You need a buddy system
Yes.
where you go, where you say, "Hey,
God,
you
that
write for
sounds
10
so
minutes,
good.
I'll write for 10 minutes," and you're accountable to this one individual person, and you both are benefiting from it. So it's not like they're doing you a favor.
Yes, Nikki, you helped me with this too. When I was feeling insecure about my voice, you were taking voice lessons. Then I started taking voice lessons thinking maybe that could help me. Now, before shows, it is non-negotiable that I do my vocal warm-ups. I have to do that every day before a show, whether it's at the hotel room or whatever. I tell myself non-negotiable. I'm doing that, and it helps so much. So you could do that you could be like, all right, now we do our non-negotiable 10 minutes. I can go do my vocal warm-ups. You can go do your thing.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I like
You
that.
guys, you guys, it's even though it's different things, you guys can still hold each other accountable to those
Well,
non-negotiables.
But at the same
I
time,
was-
hold on.
Yeah?
Where would Nikki's starting point be? And I actually, during our very short break, I was thinking, you picked up on the game of football in, maybe a couple of months, and now you actually have knowledge of football more than you did like
Yeah.
3 months ago. You're in these writing teams and these writing groups. It's fun. You get to hang out. You were just talking about how much you love that atmosphere. And I think the more you're in there, the more that muscle is getting exercise, and that is going to compel you to have that starting point where Anya does her
Yes.
vocal warm-ups and you're in your room for 10 minutes.
Well, that's why I've been bringing some writers on the road with me to like help me talk about my act. But then I bring them out and they're always like, when are we going to do it? And I go, let's like film a TikTok video instead. Like I even like
You're a
find
bad influence.
I find avoidance. I'm like, let me go watch you smoke a cigarette. Like I will do and they go, I feel bad. You like brought me out here for just, and I'm like, it's really about the hang. And then I avoid working even though
Tell
they like,
them in a text, hey, this works for you and me. Because you'll say, hey, sometime this weekend, will you remind me to blah, 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 blah. And then I make a note, don't let Nikki forget to do X, Y, Z. And sometimes I forget. Most of the time I don't. So text them. That way they know you are expecting them. It's part of their job to say, time out. When are we doing our 10 minutes of...
That's not going to happen.
but then I say,
Especially-
I don't feel like it. I'm not in
Right.
the mood right now. I always say that. I know what I do.
That's your bad. That's your bad. But
It
like,
is my
give
bad.
them...
That's what I'm saying. What do I do to stop being bad?
Yeah, well, I have the answer for that too, because so for the person that you're describing, I can't even imagine in a million years him ever doing that, going, no, now it's time for us to write, Nikki. That would be so out of character.
He would
I
never
think
do that.
What you need
Sean.
to do is establish outside of the weekend, you need to do a Zoom or something that's 1 hour of writing.
Yes.
Where you go, this is the purpose of this is just to write for an hour, and it's not in person even, or in the hang or in the weekend.
Yeah.
Do you guys start out of like nothing, or do you have a topic that you bring, or like I
usually am like, here's the things that I am interested in talking about on stage, and here are the angles I'm thinking about. Like, what do you guys think about this? Like, where? And then a lot of it is just like, here's my set. I'll send them my set, and I'll be like, do you have any ideas for other places I could go? And it's just like, that doesn't really work for me because I just never want to look. Then they send their notes, and I like never look at their notes because I just don't want to see at like how either little that they could help me because they're not good, but because like the premise isn't good, and then I feel bad about myself, or I don't know what it is. I just don't want to look at it. I just don't want to deal with it. It's just such a strange thing.
It sounds like you don't have like a tour manager of your life type of thing. Like Matt's your tour manager, and he would totally, if you told him this, he'd be like, oh, I can just remind Nikki, or I can say like, hey, now it's time for this.
I'm not doing that. I just don't feel like it tonight. I would just say I don't feel like it tonight, and that's you. I never feel like it, but I think you're right. Is like I need to do like Zoom meetings like on every week that are separate
you do that
from like
with
the tour
other stuff
atmosphere.
that aren't your stand-up.
Yeah.
You could kind of see it as
Works out
cross
fine.
training. So these Zoom meetings, maybe you have just something else that you work on, whether it's just jokes about TV shows or sports, and then the cross training part is, again, you're exercising that muscle, and then you can go into your own jokes and punch them up and build them up.
Yes.
One thing we're all neglecting is you are a 3. You are a certain type of personality. You get really like turned on, in quotes, not sexually, but like what gets you going is competition. And hearing that somebody else at your level or like some competitor is doing XYZ, or you get really inspired by people like Kobe, Michael Jordan. Like every time you watch a documentary like that, you're like, I'm going to start doing that like them. So maybe you need to set a reminder in your calendar that's like, so-and-so is killing it. And if you would do your 10 minutes right now, you would also be killing it, or something like that, where you're like, yeah, fuck that. Also, you got really into football when somebody whose music you really liked started dating a football player. Like, you get inspired by certain things. Figure out what those things are. Is it competition? Is it wanting to get closer to somebody else, wanting to learn more about a topic? Like maybe if you were like, I want to be as excellent as blank, I'm going to do that 10 minutes.
Blank's too funny. I mean,
yeah,
no one's going to be as funny. Yeah,
that's what I say to myself, Brian. I'm just like, couldn't even like touch that. That's like embarrassing to try. And then I will feel so bad that it'll be so embarrassing to me. But these are all interesting. It's nice to hear this feedback and have a couple options here. I mean, there was a thing I was doing over COVID that I remember talking about on the old You Up pod. But it was, Brian, I might have you research it. It's a thing that it's like a Zoom that you do, and you are assigned a person that randomly that also needs to get something done. And you both talk before the time limit starts about what you're going to do. And then you start, and then you both have a camera on you, and you are working, and you don't talk the whole time. And then at the end of it, you talk about what you just did. And I did it like 5 times. I got so much done because you can't abandon your buddy. And it's like it's a free website that you go onto, and it's like Omegle, and they like it's almost like they just set you up with someone randomly who also needs, and you set it, you schedule it, so then you show up and they assign you someone, and it's you and one other person. You both have your camera on you, and you just get work done at your laptop, and you talk about what you're doing right before. Like oftentimes it'd be like this guy would need like, I have to go through the spreadsheet and make sure the times really correlate with the thing, like some boring thing, and I'm like, I have to write a joke about my discharge or whatever it was, and then he'd be like, what? And he'd be like, are you Nikki? I'm like, yes. And he was like, I go, how many times have you done this? It was such a cool thing. It was called like something buddy, or like I forget, and I really want to do that again, because that
accountability buddy.
It had a really fun kind of cute name, and it was, will you Google it, Brian, to see if you can find
Chat
anything?
roulette.
It wasn't chat roulette. It's a accountability partner that you get randomly assigned to that also needs to get something done. And it is a free service. And it's probably sets the clock for like 50 minutes. And it leaves 5 minutes at the top to talk about what you're going to do and 5 minutes at the end to talk about what you did. And you can't abandon your partner. You can, but like it would be really shitty.
So I've got Commit Club.
Nope.
Supporty. Support I.
But I guess there's lots of these. God, what was it?
Focus Mate.
Yes, Focus Mate. Thank you. It was called Focus Mate. And that's where you go. Thank you so much for looking that up.
Yes.
And you go and you can make an appointment. I'm going to do that.
That's
I think
cool.
that's what I'm going to get back into because I forgot about that.
David says, I need to reply to 5 emails and book a flight. And Natalie says, I need to sketch a user flow. And then
what
both
happens?
Then they fuck.
I have to sign up to see what happens next. So
Yeah. So final thought, Focus Mate, you go on and you get you meet a person and you go like, where are you in the world? Oh, really? Like I did, Focus Mate with like people in all over the world. Tried to come up with a country.
cool.
I couldn't, but yeah, like I was going to say, and then I just felt racist whatever country I chose. Anyway,
Hey, I had something to ask you.
I'm going to do a Focus Mate to come up with a country for where my Focus Mate was. What?
I have in my notes to ask you, are you excited to see me?
Okay. So this weekend I went to see Taylor Swift in New Orleans. My weekend was insane. Let me just walk you through it. Los Angeles, Thursday night, NFL, live on TV, Amazon Prime. Friday, fly to Fort Lauderdale, do a show, and also a Playboy interview, and also a photo shoot after the show, also hair and makeup, and a meet and greet. Saturday, early morning, 7 a.m., hair and makeup, 9:30, interview until 11:30, then drive to Fort Myers, 2 shows with a meet and greet in between. Insane. Then Sunday, fly to New Orleans for Eras, and then Monday fly to the gig that I've been talking about that I don't even want to give specifics because I am still processed. I'm still in the trauma of it. Okay.
Right.
So then fly to another country to do a gig on Monday.
Jesus.
And then Tuesday back home. That was last night.
You
So
had your
then-
passport on you? God. How did
I
you
always have my
remember
passport.
that?
Yeah. Well, also Jen has bring your passport in bold written the week before throughout
That's
my
great.
calendar. So it's really that there's no way I could forget.
My passport's
And,
expired. I gotta get on that.
oh fuck yeah! And
Get
we
a
all gotta get
Focus
our
Mate.
real IDs.
I got my real ID.
I got my
the
real
year
ID.
that we needed to because I
What?
knew because it was like right after COVID.
God,
I
you
knew it
guys are
was going to
so
get
not
harder and
threes.
harder to get to the DMV to do this. So when it was like during COVID and nobody wanted to go there, that's when I went.
I will be getting my real ID May 25th. I think like the cutoff is like May 26th. I will be getting mine the day before. It's just this ridiculous. But what is it? A huge process? Is it okay? Like,
no,
is it hard?
But what's hard is that as you get closer to that date, the line at the DMV is just going to get longer and longer.
You do it online?
Yeah, I voted
gotta
early
go in.
yesterday and the line was ridiculous.
You have to go
Really?
to the DMV to do this.
So long. Which
I have
is
to travel on
hopeful.
the day that I'm voting.
Well, you can vote early tomorrow.
Oh, that's true. Maybe I'll go do that tomorrow.
I've already
Halloween.
voted. Yeah, you can
You
vote
can even
early.
vote today.
That's
I'm going to
true.
vote again tomorrow.
You can vote as many times as you want this year. They'll use this.
I know this will be the
podcast
full
as-
quote.
Pull quote. Yeah.
They don't know who I'm voting for.
So then, but on Sunday, I went to Eras, okay, in New Orleans with Kaki and Curran, Chris's brother and sister. And it was so much fun. So glad. Like at the last second, I was maybe not going to go because I'm like, I can't. I should have, in hindsight, I shouldn't have gone. I should have prepared for the show that I can't even talk about because it was so uncomfortable. And I could have maybe done better had I prepared, but probably not because it was a lot of things that I couldn't control about
You're
it. But
opening
anyway,
for Gabriel Iglesias.
that would have been so much more fun. I can't wait to talk about. It's too fresh for me. I'm too wounded. But in hindsight, I'm already mad that I already talked about it. I promised myself I wouldn't because I don't want anyone to think that I'm not being killing it right now in life. But I had a rough night of work.
What do you mean?
and that
That's
happens.
this is your brand. Honestly.
I know, but it's. I don't know. I just want the people that I consume and think are great. I don't ever want to hear about them failing until it's years later, and then they can talk about something that they
And
failed
laugh
at.
about it on Conan.
Yeah, the person I like now would never do that. I don't know. I just have these expectations for myself that I know that everyone doesn't, but whatever. So we all have bad nights, and but anyway. So I went to Eras. and I'm in the gym right before it. I know the timing of eras, right? Like I used to like not see the opening act because it's like, I'm going to be on my feet for 3 hours and 45 minutes. Like I don't need to add the opening act to that, even though I do love Paramore, even though I do love Haim. I actually did see Haim, in LA, but I generally just get there a little late. And I know that's disrespectful and I'm sorry to opening acts. I've been one before too. And I get it, but you got to understand. Anyway, Grace Abrams, I'm not skipping that. Like she's a part of it for me now. She's like literally like I'm Taylor Swift levels of obsessed with Gracie Abrams music right now. It's like in my bones. I love it so much. So I'm so excited to see Gracie. So I'm like, okay, we got to get I know the exact time we're going to make it there. I go down to the gym to work out and I'm getting a little nervous because it's like these 4 women come in and they are getting ready for the show in the gym because their room isn't ready yet. And they're being really cool about it, by the way, even though their room should have been ready. It was 4:45, but they're getting ready. And I'm like, oh, should I be getting ready? And then I'm the only one in the gym. And I'm like, and I'm looking outside and there's just like throngs of people on the street dressed in like all going to the show. And I'm like, man, I'm late. It doesn't really have anything to do with it. I was kind of panicking and they were kind of looking at me and then they started playing music on their phone to like get ready with. Even there's 4 women in their, I would say, early 40s, mid to early 40s, all getting ready. And I was listening to my music and I go, I guess I don't need music. Let me just like chill with you girls. And they're like, oh, we're so sorry. I'm like, no, this will be so fun. And I'm like, is it your first show? And they were like, yeah. And they were like, have you been before? And I'm like, uh-huh. And they're like, how many times? And I'm like, I don't really want to say. I really don't like to tell people anymore because it just is not, they just are so confused and they don't know what to say. So, I said, this is going to be my 20th. And they go, are you in her family or something? And I was like, no, which is really funny. I was like, I wish. No, I just don't have kids is my answer because these women clearly did. And I say that just because they seemed basic. And so, I, not that it's basic to have kids, but like if you're basic, like not everyone has kids is basic, but if you're basic, you have kids is, I guess, my argument. I'm sorry.
Mama bear.
Yeah. Mom. Yes. This was giving mama bear. And I'll get to that in a second. And so these women were getting ready and they were so cute and having so much fun with it. And they were like, we're so glad we did this. We almost didn't do this. It was going to be such a fun night. And then, and I was just like overhearing their conversation. And then the one was like, can I just ask you a question? And I was like, oh, here it is. Yes, I am. You know, she goes, do you drink? And I was like, I don't. And she was like, makes sense. Anyone who's fit, they don't drink. I got to stop drinking. And I was like, that's not actually true. I was like, I literally just got fit like a couple months ago. Like this is new to me. And that was honestly my first like free weights workout ever. Maybe my second. Like I'm doing free weights now. Because I did them with Kirsten when I was in Kansas City and my body hurt so bad afterwards. I realized Pilates is not doing everything I need it to be doing, which is really disheartening. So now I'm doing like weight workouts and
no replacement for weights.
There isn't. It fucking sucks because weights are so hard and they're dirty and like you just always feel like you're doing it wrong and you like always like kind of like having to like go. A guy is there and you go, oh, did you were using those? And they never have 3 pound. It's always 5 pound and there's only one set of 5 pound. There's only one set of 10 pound. And guess what? That's what most women are using are 5 and 10 pound. And so if there's one other woman in the gym, you have to use the 10 pounds and you don't have enough arm strength to use the 10 pound.
Dudes have this too with 25 and 30.
I'm sure. I'm sure. Why don't we just make lots of 20s and 25s and why don't we make lots of 5s and 10s and 7.5s, but we don't anyway. So I'm doing this and I go, to be honest with you, I just started working out like this. Like I'm not a naturally fit person. And I quit drinking like I think it's 2011, 14 years ago. And she was like, no, I gotta quit and whatever. So that was part of they were, but she's not going to because basic, right? So and it sounds like I'm being catty, but this is what it brought me to. Like, this is just not the attitude that I think anyone should have. And I just want people to be better. Okay. So these women were all talking about their husbands and one of them, and I'm so sorry if this gets back to you girls. I really did like you. I just didn't like this one comment you made. And you were basic, but that's just me being jealous that you have like families and lives that are like predictable and mine is not. And so I have to make yours seem worse to me because I'm jealous of it. Okay. So it's out of love and jealousy. That's where it's coming from.
It's out of love and hate.
Yeah.
It's not hate, but I did not like this, and I think everyone can be better. And I only didn't like this because I do it sometimes too, and I think we can all be better. And so please just know, if you're listening to this somehow made it to your ears, ladies. And by the way, when I told them I didn't have kids, they go, well, we have a friend, Steven, downstairs. You should meet. And I go, I didn't say I didn't have a boyfriend. It's not like...
It's a package deal.
It's so
Steven
funny
will
to
give
me.
you
They just
kids.
assumed I was single because I don't have kids.
There's a
But,
guy
I
down
mean,
there who would love to give you kids right now.
Yeah, who would love to come inside
Childless
you.
Steve Martin.
Yeah. And so they go, one of them asked the other one, is your husband a Swiftie? Like, is Brian, does he like Taylor Swift? And she was like, well, he doesn't have a choice. I'm listening to it all the time. And he acts like he's annoyed, but I see him like the other night we were listening to 1989 all night long. And then later on, I heard him singing to himself, I was excited to meet you. And the song is enchanted. And I'm enchanted. I was enchanted to meet you. But Brian said excited. And she goes, and I said to him, excited? You think she's said excited? It's enchanted. Excited? Oh my God. Like, or why would she be excited to meet someone? It's like shaming this guy. I'm like, why would you have that response to your boyfriend who is tolerating this music that he is not prone to listen to? He's finally becoming a Swiftie. Why would you discourage him by berating him and being like, you're so cool because you know the lyrics? By the way, enchanted and excited aren't not synonyms.
No.
You can eventually get to them. It's not crazy. It's the same amount of syllables. It is the same letter. And I was very, very annoyed that she discouraged, because if I got lyrics wrong to something and someone who loved this person was like, oh my God, it's enchanted, not excited, you fucking idiot, you fucking retard, or whatever they would say to me. Like this tone that this woman had with her husband.
You.
But by the way, divorce her immediately if this is you, Brian, because she's... Not you, Brian, but like this guy that she was talking about, like I was just like, I hope that he leaves her because this was so mean. Why wouldn't she go, oh my God, that's like, if Chris did that, I would be like, babe, I love that you are singing it that way. Like, let's change it. Let's now sing, let's call that song Excited. And let's like make shirts that say excited. Like I would make it a thing. Because don't you want to bring your partner into something you love instead of berating him and shaming him for getting it wrong?
It's also fun to make up the lyrics to songs. I'd sing the songs wrong all the time. I would be like, it's eggplant to potatoes, and I would just be singing that over and over again in the kitchen while I'm cooking.
Yeah.
That's a hit. I'm sure she was not virtue signaling. She was
exaggerating,
performatively saying this to her friend to prove just
That
what a
she's
Swiftie
such
she
a
was.
big Swiftie, yeah. I know
but
that
even
it's
that
enchanted.
is yuck. Like, just be like, I just want everyone, as someone who came into football with no knowledge of it, and honestly probably didn't want to even learn about football because I was so ashamed of how far behind I was. That's the kind of thing that I was scared of getting met with when I didn't understand things, is like, what? You thought it was this? It's that. Like,
football fans are just much more welcoming than Swifties. That's just what it comes down to.
And not generally Swifties, I think, like Swifties, I'm not just talking to Swifties, I'm talking to anyone about anything where you're the expert and it's your thing. When someone is trying, or it's like absorbing and they're getting it a little bit right, like encourage them. Don't like shame them about it. So I just like felt so bad for this guy. And by the way, that your big stance and like you are making such a big joke of your husband getting a word slightly wrong. Like, this is what made me be like, these women need to quit drinking and need to get better personalities and have more interesting things to talk about, because this is not interesting. It wasn't funny.
Add that, like, the irony is that you have a great motherly quality. That is such a great quality to have as a mother, to like teach kids without judging them.
You should go meet with Stephen.
Thank you. That's so nice. I don't want to play with them, but I do want to teach them
There you go.
that it's okay to make mistakes as long as you're eager to learn. And like, this poor guy liked this song, and he'll never hum another fucking
It's so
even
berating.
attempt to enjoy
No,
Taylor
you
Swift
shamed
ever
him.
again. It's done for him. So encourage people to fuck up if they're trying to like a thing that you are such an expert on, because you met her once when she came to that fella, whatever. These poor women. I know this is going to get back to them. There's going to be someone who connected that they were getting ready in a gym. My friends got ready in a gym this weekend in New Orleans. Holy shit. I got to send this podcast to them. Don't do that. That's so mean. Don't do that to your friend either. That's a mean thing to do. I'm sorry if those are you, but, and you probably were exaggerating the story to be funnier, which I've done before too. And I'm probably exaggerating this story for it to be funnier, and it's not. So we've all been there, but like that really, I just felt for that man, where it's like, just don't be a mean woman.
That's true.
It like I felt like I was watching like an episode of Yes Dear or something. You know what I mean? Like where you're like where it's like in the 90s, every woman was just like, ugh, my dumb husband. Like it really ruined the idea of marriage to me watching like Tool Time or whatever, Home Improvement. Oh my God, Sean O'Connor said the funniest thing this weekend when I was talking about like if I make my own TV show, like, you know, like I think I said this the other day about Nobody Wants This. Like it was irritating to me to watch Nobody Wants This because she's the host of a podcast, and I've thought about making a TV show where I'm the host of a podcast, and people are like, you can't do that. It's already been done on Sex and the City. You can't do that again. And it's like, yes, you can. Like you can do anything. And he goes, because I was like, I'm tired of trying to come up with like jobs for my character that I would never do. You know, like I'm going to be a host of something. I'm going to be in entertainment. Like I'm not going to be the owner of a gift shop at the mall or what, you know, like that's just not, if I'm going to play a character that's me, that's not going to be a good show because it's not going to be what I would do. Anyway. And he said, yeah, like for like, you know, Tim, like that's why Seinfeld worked. Like they just made him a comedian because that's like, he wasn't trying to be anything else, which was a really kind of novel thing to do back then, to have like a show about a comedian, because it was every comedian that had a show about themselves would just like make a new job up. And he was like Tim Allen, they made him the host of a Tool show, which is not even a thing. And I was like, it's so funny. That's so true. They made up this like genre of show that doesn't even exist just so Tim Allen could have a job that wasn't stand-up comedian, even though that's like what they were trying to. What can we plug him into where he tells jokes? Oh, a comedy Tool show.
And it was so effective. Like so many people thought he actually did that.
Dude, I thought that was like there was like Bob Vila, This Old House, but there wasn't like a live audience Tool show, like a Home Improvement show where there was like a guy that was just making jokes the whole time. Like, so it's, and I don't even know what I was trying to get with this, but like, yeah, I guess I was excited to meet you guys, or enchanted, whatever it is. I guess that's our show. Check out Anya's album Asteroid, out available now, AnyaMarina.com. Get a girl shit t-shirt. See us on tour. The dates that I need to plug where you guys are not buying tickets to, which it's so nice that I don't have to plug dates anymore. You guys are coming out in full force. I'm adding shows, just added New York City, added Chicago Theater, second show. Like these are huge venues that the first time around I was like, couldn't even sell out. And now I'm selling 2 shows. It's like, I'm so grateful. Thank you so much. But the towns where I need to promote, Memphis, and that's the 23rd, I believe, of November. Memphis, come on out for that. There are tickets still available that I need to push. And then this weekend in Tulsa, I think there are that one isn't selling as well. I mean, I guess that's just like in Oklahoma, Tulsa, Oklahoma. And that is going to be on, I think that's Friday, right, Anya? We're in Tulsa first.
Oklahoma City on Friday, and then Tulsa I believe,
on Saturday. So Tulsa, I think Oklahoma City is probably close to sold out or sold out. And then Tulsa, there are tickets available this weekend if you know someone in Tulsa. Don't send this to your friend if she got ready at the gym in New Orleans for Eras. And yeah, and then check all my tour dates, nikkiglaser.com. So many new ones added. Besties coming up to shows. The
You're going to
greatest
Australia
group of
and New
besties.
Zealand.
Oh yeah, I'm going to Australia and New Zealand this summer. Fucking nuts, dude. I'm so excited for that tour. I can't believe I'm going to a place I've literally never performed stand-up comedy.
Wow.
And that there are going to be people who know me there that come out to shows.
Oh yeah, they're gonna love you.
Wild.
No way. No way.
Why?
That's what I'm saying to that. And then I just want to thank the besties that have listened to every single episode of every podcast I've ever done. I forget your names now, but you came to the show this weekend in Fort Myers. I'm so sorry I forgot your names. You were so amazing. I loved hugging you. I loved seeing you. You made t-shirts that had a reference to something from high school that like I sent to my girlfriends from high school, and they could not believe a t-shirt got made with a reference to Jay Holly is the biggest fuck in all of Fort Myers. I'll just leave it at that. Like, Jay Holly himself, I told him that, and he said, oh my God, like, you blew people's minds this weekend, girls, with those shirts that you made me and the hat you made me. Thank you so much to every bestie that comes out. You don't need to bring me gifts, but man, that really was like so funny. I love seeing you guys. I love you. And thanks for listening. Don't be good. Bye.